www.ogskradio.com. Let them know who you are. What we got in the spot?
Alex Enamorado, street vendor activist.
Let's get back into it. Do street vendors pay sales tax?
Yes.
And how so? Go ahead.
Look, from what I know, yes, they do. From what I also know is that restaurants, they usually buy them wholesale and they don't pay sales tax when they buy their meat on wholesale prices. That's what I do.
What about What about individual transactions? Like, because a street vendor is not necessarily just food.
Right.
It could be anything that they're vending, but it's like a 7-cent sales tax. Do they report? How do the vendors report that?
From what I know, like for example, Tacos La Güera, she has a couple stands. She pays taxes. She showed me that she pays taxes every year, and it's like, it's high. Last time I seen a statement, it was like $30,000 in taxes that she pays. And she's moving on to like owning a brick and mortar. But from what I know is that they use IT numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, to pay taxes. So,
but is that form of street vending, is that regulated? Each transaction, is that regulated now currently? Or?
So that's why. So for example, tamales, like the tamale cart people who have their permits, they are regulated. But for example, if it's an elote cart that it's not. They do not have their permits because they make it impossible. Yeah. The only taxes that they're paying is from their everyday purchases.
So if the permits are impossible, how do we fix it so that at what level do we fight it? Because we're getting the Senate bill passed, and it's to legalize it in the sense, but it's to legalize it in the sense of getting permits but the permits are near impossible to get.
Like Senate Bill 972, it was good for people who sell prepackaged items. Like if you sell chips, if you sell soda, you don't need any type of permit from DPH. So that was good. But Department of Public Health in the state, they don't give any pathway to taco stands at all whatsoever. And I've had meetings and I told them, why not? And they say, I told them, like, what is it? Is it the insurance purposes? Because we could get an insurance right now, which is $2 million, and we'll give them insurance. Nah, it's just only if it's under a community event. It's really stupid. It's like,
oh, that's right, farmers markets. I read up on it, right? Yeah.
Like if it's under a community event, we'll give them a permit. So then, are you really worried about being sanitary? Like, I don't understand it. And I asked Lisa, which is the director of the Department of Public Health. So what's the reason? She was like, well, I don't know. It's just state law.
So do you as a street vendor advocate, are we at the level now where we have to just hire lawyers and like get into the legal side of it and fight it that way, or find loopholes, for lack of a better term?
We have lawyers, and then we have my friend Matt, which is Matt and Richard. They're part of Revolution Carts. They are the founders, and they also they have the National Food Trucks Association. When I sit down with them, bro, they went through, when it comes to everything I'm doing right now, they went through that shit 20 years ago with lunch trucks. They were trying to ban lunch trucks. They were trying to say that you can't cook inside lunch trucks. So these guys, instead of hating on me and telling me, hey, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, they took me under the wing, and they've been teaching me a lot of stuff. So right now what we're trying to do is trying to expand community events. So, for example, the Department of Public Health, they allow you to have 25 community events in the 90-day period. So that's 3 days a week. You can have a 3-day, a weekend, a whole weekend community event inside of, let's say, the city of Cudahy, right? So we'll be able to get permits for taco stands, elotes, all these people. So we're gonna have these community events in every single city, and that's how that's a loophole that we're gonna use to be able to get vendors to sell.
There you go. Yeah, just it's a farmer's market, right? Because I think it clearly states in there that farmer's market can.
Yeah, that's why this week we started a nonprofit. It's called UVA. I haven't told no one this. It's called. So it's an acronym that'll be the same for English and Spanish. So in English, it's gonna be Union of Vendors Association. In Spanish, Unión de Vendedores Ambulantes.
Dope.
And we're trying to get grants because right now I'm looking at all the paperwork, bro. They gave $3 million. The state gave $3 million to this organization called Workforce to do outreach for street vendors. I went on their website. I have asked thousands of vendors, have they heard of this fucking organization? Nothing. And most of the organizations, the nonprofits, are white owned. So. And this is something I've heard for a while. Like, we need to step in, and make sure.
Yeah, where's the outreach going to be? Like, how are they even going to, where are they going to outreach? You know what I mean?
I just going on the street, man. And I'm already doing that, Every time I see a street vendor, I stop by, and I'm in communication with a lot of them.
A lot of issues, and well documented on your page with street vendors, violence, robberies. But the question I want to ask you is, when you're going up to the people that do these things, you're not confronting them in the civilized, legal. Not want to say legal because it is legal. I mean, you could talk to anybody, but fuck, it is what it is, dog. You know, you tell, hey, let's run the fade or talk to me. You know, put your hands on me, which is noble and props for that. But I mean, the question would be like, why are you recording it then?
There's been times that things have happened where we don't post, where we don't record, or we do record and things happens and we don't post it. And then there's times where, like what happened in San Diego at Mission Beach. Oh, yeah. There was a guy, I don't know if you've seen, we got down with him, we got in a fight with him, and it was self-defense. And I'll be honest with you 100%. Yeah. I go out there to bait them. Okay. I want them to hit me. So we could have every legal right to hit them back, and then we'll post it, you know? Okay. That's it.
So it's to cover yourself, but you're willing to run the fade.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to get posted, in other words, too.
Yeah, like, no, I have a bunch of videos that are viral potential, but there's sometimes where, like, the street vendors don't feel comfortable with the attention, and I respect their decision.
Okay, dope, man. Good to know. Like I said, just watching it, like, yeah, dog, like, yeah, you're doing it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that San Diego video, a lot of people liked it too, you know, because it brought some justice to people's eyes, you know.
No, for sure. Yeah. Definitely draws the attention to it, you know. Hoodstocks, how'd you hook up with Hoodstocks?
I think it was through my homie Anthony Felix. He went on there first, and then that's when it kind of like this one. I've been wanting to be on OG Husky Radio for a long time, so I started seeing Hoodstocks everywhere, and then I've always wanted to be on it, but I never asked him, like, hey, bro, interview me, until he hit me up, and then it happened.
And then Street Vendors podcast, what happened, man?
So he hit me up, and he wanted to do a street. He told me from the beginning, like, hey, let's do a little trial run, you know? But it just, I don't think it worked out. We sat down and talked about it, like, because it was going to be in Spanish, and the views weren't really coming in. And it was hard, man, to get street vendors to go on there, too, to say their story. And a lot of them don't, you know, and I respect it. You know, I'm not pushy with the vendors too. So it got to the point where I was just interviewing people who do the same thing as I do, or lawyers or attorneys, and it just wasn't working. And plus, right now I live in the IE now. Okay. And driving every week or every other week to Hoodstocks, it wasn't working out. Yeah.
Word up. Any protest tips for anybody that plans on doing protests, or the people that are out there? Or, you know what? Let's do it this way. You put that we're going to be protesting here, come on down. What would you tell the people so they know offhand when they're coming? Like, just, you know what I mean? The tips of like, hey, do this, you do this. This is how you conduct yourself, or this is what the main goal is.
I don't tell them nothing. No? First of all, you don't need a permit. I fucking hate when people try to, like, to me, you're a fake ass activist if you go do it the correct way and you go get a permit and then you invite the police. Like, I've met activists like that, bro. Yeah. Like, I need to get permission from the police. Like, man, fuck out of here. Like, you don't need any permit. As long as you keep the crowd moving, you'll be fine. But sometimes it could be situated and the cops, you know, they just every time we go to downtown LA, we take over the street, bro. Like, I have a bunch of people on the back of my truck just sitting, standing, or whatever, and we're moving and. We take over the street. I would never tell people like, oh, don't be violent, this and that, because once you start demonizing protests, thinking they're violent, then you kind of sound like a Republican, bro. I've never been part of a protest where it gets violent, and I don't even have to tell them not to get violent.
What's wrong with being Republican, though?
Well, being a Republican? Yeah. I think nowadays being a Republican, to me, I wouldn't be a Republican because of first of all, the history, and then how 90% of Republicans now, all they focus is on homophobia, and then they're backed up. All the KKK, Proud Boys, and Red Elephants, and all these white supremacist groups, they've infiltrated the Republican Party. The Republican Party used to be a good party, bro. Believe it or not, you know, they're the ones that.
If we go way back,
there was a party switch.
Yeah, I think if we go way back, it's even something like the Republican Party was against slavery. I mean, if we go way back, but. Wouldn't you say like Democrats and Republicans the same thing though? At this point,
they're both bad, but I'm not gonna tell you here that you know they're the same. Like for example, Democrats are the ones that got driver's license for undocumented people. They're the ones that you know, for example, Gavin Newsom got you know how everyone was getting stimulus checks. Yeah, he got stimulus checks for people who were undocumented. He got people who were undocumented to get Medi-Cal. You know what I'm saying? That was a big step.
But did that cut off after the pandemic, or that's permanent? That's stood.
That's on right now. You know,
Okay.
they have LA Care. They have, everyone's covered right now. They can get. I mean, it's not the best insurance.
No, it's
not
ba-
by
it's
far.
bad. It's bad. Let's keep it real.
Yeah,
And shit, you know what I mean?
but
But
I
it's
mean-
better than nothing.
If you end up in the hospital, you're not gonna get footed with a bill. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's important. So, and then to me, even though I come from the hood, I'm big on corruption. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like growing up, we had to steal to survive. These politicians, they steal from us. You know. What I'm
So you
saying?
guys
From
are the
working
same.
class. No, but like
You're still stealing.
if you look at that statistic, nah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not. It's not the same. It's like you can't compare Robin Hood with Donald Trump. Like you're not stealing from people that need it. You know. So, right now, if you look at the statistics, like between Republicans and Democrats, Republicans have especially during presidential
Go ahead. Especially during
presidential administrations. In the past 68 years, there's been 415 convicted Republicans compared to only 3 Democrats. And when it comes to the economy always does better under the Democrat when a Democrat's in the president chair.
But if we look at the economy, we're looking at the GDP, right?
Right.
Okay, but the GDP, it's import export.
Mhm.
Our top export, I always break it down like
Yeah.
regular day to day stuff. I think the top 2 is like petroleum and refined petroleum are the
Mhm.
top 2 exports. Let's be honest, like maybe, but I don't know anybody who works in the oil fields. But let me finish.
Yeah.
So like, and then what we're importing, we import everything, and then our economy is pretty much based on service, the service economy. You know what I mean? So then the jobs aren't the best jobs. You feel me? Like, so if we're really basing it on the economy, and the economy goes up and down either way, so it's as a regular basis, like, be honest with you. Motherfuckers in the hood and be like, that shit don't affect me, dog. The GDP, the economy, you know what I mean? Because when Trump was in there, that was fucking, he was hiding out stimmies like a motherfucker. The hood loved him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Republican or not, they don't give a fuck. It's like,
Yeah.
man, there's money coming in. You get what I'm saying? So, like, just in that kind of sense, how do we gauge that, like, from every day-to-day
So
life?
it goes based off median income too, you know. So and then every time there's a Republican, our economy plummets. We went into a recession under Bush, and then under Trump, because he's anti-science and he dismantled our pandemic team, which I'm 100% sure. I'm very passionate about this, bro. If he wouldn't have done that,
What was the pandemic team? Was that the CDC?
no. So yeah, but the pandemic team was a group of people had an office in the White House. That their main purpose was to control an outbreak of a virus, right? And they had offices throughout the whole world. In 2018, Trump dismantled it because he just didn't.
Because he was cleaning the swamp.
Nah, I mean, shit, he is a swamp because
that was a shit
Yeah.
saying, dog. Well,
But-
go ahead.
In 2018, we warned him. We warned
Yeah.
him. Like I remember on Twitter, everyone was like, "Damn, he's leaving us vulnerable." I assure you, for a fact, bro, if politics is very biased. Had Joe Biden done that, or Bernie Sanders had dismantled our not our pandemic team, our military, fired 90% of it, and then we get bombed by China, we wouldn't have been blaming another country. We would have been blaming the president for leaving us vulnerable. So during 2020, our economy plummeted again because it
Lockdowns,
happened.
right? 'Cause
Yeah.
of lockdowns.
All that. So if had he not done that 2 years prior and left us vulnerable, the economy right now, everything
But-
that's gone up, the gas prices,
Yeah.
inflation, it's because of the pandemic. It's not.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
getting at. Because if we're giving Biden props right now, it's like he ain't really done much. It's just the effect of what Trump did. You feel me? So like, it's kind of like we can't give him that Democratic is better under. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
you get what I'm saying? Like, because it was slow, because everything was shut down.
well, I assure you that
Yeah.
if Joe Biden would have been president, he's big on science, I don't think the pandemic would have happened in the first place.
Did it come from China or nah? What do you
Whether it did, whether
Yeah.
it was planned or not, like
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, do you
yeah.
believe? Do you think so or nah?
that I
Because it was. You don't think it was like some biological warfare type shit?
that I don't know.
No, okay,
That I don't
yeah.
know. But I know for a fact that a lot of people try to demonize and say that China did it on purpose, and then they use that to be racist towards Asians. Like that's
Oh,
not
yeah,
cool.
That's not.
But at the end of the day, whether it was or wasn't, he left us vulnerable. That's 100% sure, and that's all proven. It's all there.
Bernie won California. You have won California.
Yeah, they threw me into the Lions Den, bro. When I was working for him, I wanted to stay in LA County.
Yeah.
We had our office there, and then he told me, "We're gonna send you to Oxnard, and you're gonna be in charge of from LA County all the way up to Salinas. All the counties that Bernie had lost against Hillary in 2016, they threw me out there. So I had my own office in Oxnard. I was there for like I don't know how many months, and damn, we ended up winning every single county. We won the whole state. We beat Joe Biden, but the problem was that the rest of America, they're conservative, you know. So,
but even in participating in that, does it really affect anything with the electoral votes? The way the system is set up.
What do you mean?
Electoral votes are your actual vote doesn't count because it's a assigned number per state. They vote, yeah. So like even though Bernie would have won here, technically the electoral votes could have still swayed the other way. Does that really? That's not to take away from the victory, but I'm saying is that like the votes.
The bad thing about the electoral college is that basically land is voting, you know, and it sucks big time because you cannot tell me that fucking 40 million people in California is the same as Nevada, and Nevada is nothing but land. So the thing that we had to do, and this is something that, you know, we disagreed that we should have concentrated more on these other red states to vote. But at the end of the day, man, the president, who's the president, he represents the people. The people, this is what the people wanted. That's
dope.
You know, at the end of the day, the middle of America, they are more conservative, and if you look at United States as a whole, 73% white, and the way that a lot of people are, they were just not ready for the views that Bernie had.
Word up. OGSQ Radio, stay posted. We're going to do another part. This is too much, right? If you're cool with it, stay posted.